Kieran Dow is Gavin Ray. Gavin Ray is Kieran Dow. It's a baldy, super fit for his age, foreign manager, a guy who played the game hard and who exercises hard, who's competitive in his private life as well as his professional life. He can't switch it off. He can't switch it off. And when you see him running that Glasgow half marathon, when you see him walking the hills in the Highlands, when you see him going through Millport town centre, stuff like that, and you stop him and you get your photograph taken, and you're like, this is the guy, this is the guy. But he's foreign, he's bald, he doesn't get it. It's no bald, he's shaved his head, he's shaved his hair, because he's either going to be a proper, full on, massive, kind of like badger of hair, or it's going to be nothing. There's no messing about, there's no half measures. But you start thinking, actually, that's time you're spending away for Ibrox. Do you really get it? Dick Advocat, golf club, when he left PSV Eindhoven to come to Ibrox, they gave him, the PSV players all chipped in to get him a set of golf clubs, because Scotland's famous for the golf, and footballers all like playing a bit of golf, and they got him a set of golf clubs. And John Gregg told us that he thinks that when Advocat packed it in at Ibrox and went back to Netherlands, he hadn't broken the seal, and he still had the plastic covering on them. He'd never actually used them because he was just obsessed with the job. He didn't do anything other than the Rangers job when he was Rangers manager. Even when he moved upstairs, I don't know, he never used the, and it makes you think, you start thinking, we thought that about Le Guin as well. Do you actually have time to be running a half marathon? I don't care how quick you actually run it, we nearly need you to be on it all the time. And we put it on Gavin Ray. Gavin Ray got the captain's armband, and we started Kieran Dow the day, and it's no fair in either of them. And it's tumultuous, and there's a lot of blame going on, there's a lot of agendas, there's a lot of easy solutions, and most of them are coming from Chris Boyd. Boydy's involved in both games. I was in the David Cooper stand, that penalty. Was it Parsel scored the penalty? We won that day at Fir Park, and it was the sign of the six. Revelations. This is wisdom. Let he who has the anyway. I don't know if, same as me, Chris Boyd is Kilmarnock roots, Ayrshire, Rangers supporter. He will have that 11th digit. But I don't know if what he was actually doing. It was tumultuous, it was emotional, there was a lot of confusion going on at that time. So maybe I wasn't paying proper attention. Maybe he wasn't saying but maybe he was 6 and 5. Maybe he had that extra digit. Maybe he popped it out the shorts, so he was actually saying 6 and 5, 6 and 5. It's 11. No, it's 6-5. It's 65. Barry. He's going to play 65 games for us next season. That's what you're missing. Paul Le Guin. But the bins. Thanks very much for the grey bins. Thanks very much for reminding me, folks, to take the grey bin out last night. I know it's controversial. I know we're emotional. I know everybody's angry. We know that once every 4 weeks isn't enough for the grey bin. I'm sorry to keep going on about this. I know you were getting bored of listening to it, but it's just the most pressing issue this weekend throughout this whole festive period. It's in our face, so we've got to fight back. Aye. And if you're in the Glasgow area especially, you will know once every 4 weeks isn't enough during the regular year. But Christmas, so much stuff, so much extra stuff goes in it. The fact that it was getting picked up on the 29th was a disgrace. Not the fault of the refuse workers, not the fault of the guys, not the fault of the management, the fault of the council. Take it as far back as you want, it goes all the way to the top. But if I hadn't put it out, it was going to be a disaster. It was going to be a domestic disaster. If I hadn't put that grey bin out last night, the grey bin that, because just before even Christmas, it's got the tins, it's got the cartons, and most of all, it's got the crisps. It's got the crisp packets. There's no crisps in there because, by God, they're empty. And I don't want to be a traitor to Morrison's. Morrison's literally family working in Morrison's. And Morrison's is like family to me. Morrison's in Anniesland. You know, I'll tell you about my trips to Morrison's in Anniesland. And I did the turkey. I was telling you, I did the turkey for Marks and Spencer's. It's expensive, but that's the centrepiece. You get the main thing. You get the proper talent. You get the quality that's most needed. You spend the money on that, and you get that right in the middle. That's right in the middle of the table, and you build up everything else around about that. So the rest of the stuff can be cheap as chips, including the chips. You go to Morrison's for all the rest of the stuff, and I went in there for the snacks on Monday, and I know they had the problems. With the More card, and the More card discount wasn't being applied all across the country. The worst possible time for Morrison's to have that to have that hiccup there, that the public were losing faith in it. But once it had been resolved, I went round there straight from Marks and Spencer's. I got the turkey in the boot of the motor. We got into Morrison's to get the crisps. You know, it's the flame grilled McCoy's steak, ridged for his pleasure. I'm always getting the 6-packs of them. They're my staple. But at this time of year, so much TV to be watched, so much sofa to be sat on, you've really got to go extra. You've got to have backup, and my first backup is always the Golden Wonder cheese and onion. I can't say always because it feels like a really recent thing. I don't know if it's an age thing. The years go in quicker, but it feels like, to me, still, that Golden Wonder cheese and onion are just back on the scene. Golden Wonder made a comeback. They disappeared for years as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But I do pay attention to my crisps. I pay attention to my snacks. I always have. And it seemed like they disappeared off the scene for years. I remember my dad, he always had the Golden Wonder cheese and onion. That was his wee kind of snack of choice when he was watching a bit of telly. We didn't have 6-packs back in the days. But the bag was the size of an old fiver. It was huge, And I remember him, Dad, can we get, me and my sister, Dad, can we get cheese and onion crisp? Can we get cheese and onion crisp? And okay, he hit us with the belt and all that, obviously. And I'd be, Dad, please get cheese. We've not had a meal for 3 weeks, but then he'd give us a cheese and onion crisp. And we're like, it's all right, it's not bad, but it's not as good as salt and vinegar. It's not as good as prawn cocktail, the proper fun, tangy stuff, the hardcore stuff. But now I can't handle that, and it's really strange because the drink I like more and more kind of stronger even, maybe the word drink as I got older. But the crisps, I can't handle the salt and vinegar cheese. But they were alright back then. I feel as if they're alright back then. But then it seems like it's probably like 10, 15 years ago, but it seems quite recent because I'm an old man. I was initially, there's the old, I'm not seeing Golden Wonder cheese and onion for a while, and I picked one up. And I bought it. And I just for a laugh. And I thought, oh my God, they've double dosed it. They've double dosed the cheese and onion. The whatever the coating that they put on the crisps when they're in the factory, whatever, it seemed to be twice the tanginess, twice the tastiness. It was a taste sensation, and it's cheap. It's still cheap comparatively. You got £1 for ages. It seemed it was only £1 for a 6-pack, and despite Brexit and the disaster like that is, I think it's only about £1.30 still. But sometimes I've got to be honest with you, I'm not even looking at the price. I'll just have 2 bags of them. I went in at Morrison's on Monday. There was none. They were after the shelves were clear, and they had the salt and vinegar was there. Can't handle it. Even it's a blue bag. I'm picking up a green bag instead of blue. Can't handle it. And the ready salted was there as well, so I had to go for ready salted because I can handle ready salted. It's not exciting enough for me. I'm probably going to get to a stage in another 10 years' time where ready salted is as much crisp as I can take with the lovely new tangy taste of the cheese and onion. So there's hundreds of them. So I've fired through a couple of 6-packs of each already. They're in there, and I do the individual packets and I bundle them all up at the end of the night and I shove them into the bag, the 6-pack bag, and I'll put them down the side of me in the sofa while I finish my beer or whatever, and they'll go in the bin, the bin that goes in the grey bin. So if that falls over that bin and it's rammed, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be all over the street. It's going to be everywhere. Because it's quite a windy street, this anyway, just we're at the end of the street, and it just comes a wee bit of space around this bend, and the wind shoots right up it, and I'm in the slum area, and I'm in the ghetto, really, the Kelvindale ghetto, and I have to put the brick in. It's a broken up, kind of aggregate. It's a broken up old slab that was at the back, but I put that on top of the grey bin so it doesn't blow over at the best of times. But I was telling you, when the bin, it's always a panic the grey bin's got to go because I can't put it out during the day because of the winds with the bikes and the things that I don't want to get in their way. So I put it out at night time. Then the wind picks up, but I can't see how windy it is. And when you put it on so that you're saying to the refuse guys, no, I'm not saying come into my house to get it, and they wouldn't anyway. They'd be quite right not to come in and get it. You've got to make sure they're going to take it. So you've got to put it out far enough onto the street. But you have to take the brick off the tap because you can't ask them to injure themselves. Taking the bricks off a tap of bins and all that. That's a red card, So I put it out in the paint, but you're worried it's going to blow over because it's then exposed to the wind. But I found a way to just tuck it round the back of this wee kind of bush thing, but it's visible to the guys. It's technically out on the pavement so they can get there, but it's still a worry. And this morning I woke up, oh God, it could have been as early as 11:30, something like that. No, it was before 9 o'clock this morning. I woke up to the rattle with the bins, and the bin men had been. Of course they had been. They'd done their job. I was so out of it. They'd actually been and gone without me hearing a thing, but the wind must have started picking up, and I heard a bin crashing, I heard the bin falling, and I got up, like a coiled spring, and I got up to the wind, and I forgot I didn't have anything on, so I got back, don't want to get arrested again. I looked at, and the bin was on its side. The grey bin was on its side, and it's on its side. The fella next door's grey bin as well, and he paints all day. I pod all day. He paints the narratives, and I pod paintings, and it's just when he's painting and I'm podding, and I'll take care of his bins, so it's not a problem. He just disappears for days to days work. And the bin was here lying outside. I thought I'd better go out there and sort out the bins, and I couldn't see it. And I thought I could see a milk carton, I could see an iron brew. I don't drink iron brew. I'm a Coca-Cola man. The guy next door, he's not into that at all. He's into painting. So I went out, I rushed out as a bin top, and I could see that it was full skimmed milk. It was pasteurised, but it's full skimmed milk. It was blue label on the side, not the green. And I thought, I don't drink that. That's fine. That's coming from somebody else's. I don't mind other folks' rubbish being in my garden. I just don't want my rubbish out of the garden. And the bins had been emptied, so it was fine. It was just lying there on their side, but they were fine. And I thought, I've got away with it. And as I walked out, I noticed the brick. I'd taken the brick off last night. When I put the grey bin out, the brick was sitting on top of the green bin. I put the green bin, and I thought, maybe that's a bit. And I pulled the blue bin. A brick on your green bin, and I pulled the blue bin a wee bit further forward, and I thought, I'm making this happen. Not get the symbolism right. I'll get the symbolism right. But the rubbish was blown up. It was blowing up the street. I'd done the job. I'd got the grey bin out there. I'd put the grey bin out, and it had survived the night. It had fallen over, but the rubbish was still blowing up the street, continually coming from other folks' bins. It was blowing down the side of the house and out the back door, and it was blowing. The rubbish was still there, and it was blowing so hard that I was taking the rubbish through other folks' bins that the binmen hadn't got to in time, and I was putting it in my own grey bin, which meant it was going to get blown over again, because it's just it was a gale force wind. So I had to put the brick back on top of the grey bin. I'd take it off the green bin, it went back on top of the grey bin, and I had to pull all the bins in together so they wouldn't blow over. And other folks' rubbish that they hadn't put in the right bin, because it was like Ferrero Rocher packets there that have got plastic on them, as well as bits of film, and I had to sit and I'm actually dealing with other folks' rubbish, divvying it up to put it in to the right bin, and I'm thinking, is this actually going to be what's going to happen? And I thought, no, you're mixing up metaphors with portents. You're mixing up analogies about what has happened with kind of portents, prophecies, if you like, the symbolism of what might come, and if you mix them up, the council will come and take them away. So you've got to stop this. And if I was William Carlos Williams, and I wish I was, that would be your pod. That would be it. That would be it done. But this is your phatic, immediate, and it is immediate. It's so immediate. I mean, it's Kevin Clancy. He's just got the wee whistle. It's the wee peas. It's not even back, and it's little holding the hole there at the back of the plastic as a wee bit of saliva still connecting Kevin's lips to the opening and the whistle there. A bit translucent gob, only aware of it because the floodlight from Fir Park is glinting off that little bit of slaver as Kevin just pulls the whistle out his mouth to blow for 116 minutes of football, all in. I think it was 101 minutes, and I'm racing through here to do the immediate post. We are scoring regularly in domestic away games now, and rotating the squad, and getting players back from injury, and we're picking up points on the road as well. So what's your problem? Reaction pod, coming to you in association with Jersnet. Please check out Jersnet, and don't listen to me. It's Craig, and it's Colin, and it's Ben, so they will be telling it like it is. They'll be getting to the point, and they'll be getting that sorted out. Did I say getting to the point? Just getting a point. They'll be talking about the action at and the lack thereof at times at Fir Park today, and what that means for the future of Philippe Clement on Jersnet tonight, 9:30 live on YouTube every Sunday night. Jersnet, the marquee show, the flagship show, live on the YouTube Jersnet channel, 9:30. Please check that out, folks. It's the best pod in Poddington, Poddington Bear, you could make a wee sip. But I'm sponsored by Jersnet, and I'm also sponsored by getting what you want. I'm sponsored by Getting What You Want. This time last year, or nearly this time last year. This 24 hours short this time last year. I think it was the 30th, wasn't it? The 30th. Philippe Clement has just drawn his last game of the calendar year 2024, and he lost his last game of the calendar year 2023. So that's an improvement. It's an improvement. They're both away from home. And we lost to Celtic, and I did everything to distract the Celtic fans, the ambulance chasers, etc. And I was talking about presents that I wanted that I never got. You know, the tour of Irebrooks with Bomber Brown, but I don't want that really because I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle being in Bomber's company. It'd be too much for me. It'd be overwhelming. But I wanted for my 50th birthday. I couldn't understand why my wife hadn't got me the Cuba cake. It was a Jersnet post-match reaction pod for the loss at Parkhead on the 30th of December 2023, and I just was talking about how I wanted it. I thought I'd dropped enough hints throughout my life that the greatest cake ever was, or the greatest cake moment was Hyman Roth, played by Lee Strasberg, handing out the slices of Cuba, almost literally, with the cake in that scene in Godfather 2, and I thought, well, it's a certainty. I talk about it so much. She's going to get me a Cuba cake for my 50th. It never happened. And you might also have seen, I'm referring to a lot more on pods here, and it's a good reason, mostly because I can't think of what to say. There's nothing new to say. It's the same old shite all the time. And I did one, I think it was a preview for the St Johnstone game on the Sunday nights. It's 2 months ago, roughly, it's Krapp's last pod. And I was talking about how James Tavernier was that the game against Leon, the midweek game against Leon, he'd come off with like half an hour to go or something. Is that the moment we've been waiting for? That Tav's, being effectively benched by the manager, his spell has been regular, as well as first choice for captain is over. That so many Rangers fans wanted that. So many Rangers fans wanted that so badly that I was scared almost to applaud. I didn't know if it was happening. I was going to resolve to give Tav a standing ovation if there was any kind of standing down of his relentless service for Rangers over this period of trauma for us. But I didn't know what to do, and it led me to think about a story about a guy. It was a lecture and a lecture theatre, an actual theatre. It was a lecture about theatre. It's a lecture theatre, but proper. You're sitting there, and it's almost like the kind of. It's like a proscenium arch for the lecturers when there's a screen behind them, and it was a lecture about theatre and about how scripts can be a bit kind of more stage directions in them than actual dialogue. And he used the example of Krapp's last tape, the classic. And I knew about Krapp's last tape, and this guy, I think he was Polish or something like that. Basically, I think he'd escaped, the Solidarity days or whatever. He'd escaped from Poland, and he was a few years older, and during the communist era, and he'd come over here, and he was exemplifying the beginning of Krapp's last tape, where there's barely any dialogue. It's just a guy eating a banana and going through and spool. He's using a spool and all that, and it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's done well. It's absolutely spellbinding. And it's one of maybe my favourite play of all, my favourite stage work ever. I saw a wee production by a wee kind of company, I can't even remember their name, in the what do you call it? God, the bit under the bridge. It was a nightclub in Glasgow Central. Anyway, it's sort of memory fading. That's quite appropriate. Krapp's last tape, and I'm sitting there at this lecture, and I was a mature student, which I was like 22 or something like that, but I'd taken a few years to go work and stuff like that, but here I was a mature student. I knew a bit about the world, I knew a bit about getting around and all that, and there was all these students sitting there, basically just wains, just straight out of school, straight out of university, getting your grants, or a lot of posh ones. Mummy and Daddy was paying for everything, so they were doing a lot of getting pissed and all that, but they didn't actually know about social conventions and how to give, getting the manners that hadn't really fully developed yet. And I sat and it was just one of the moments where I suddenly realised, because he's got the makeup on. No, Krapp's like 69, and they playing this guy, even as he was doing this lecture, wasn't he 69 yet? He would probably be in his 40s or something like that. I thought, and the whole point, sorry if you've heard this before, but he did this thing where he's like, I'm going to exemplify this, I'm just going to show you an excerpt. And we just thought it was a lecture, so we're sitting with notes and all that, and I'll show you a short film from Beckett's Krapp's last tape. And it's him on screen, but he's got the makeup on, and it's him probably from, I think it was Polish National Theatre or something like that, and it was from something like the 1970s. So he's like a young man in it, so he's got heavy makeup on, but slowly, as he's doing the banana and the shuffling back and forth to get the ledgers and all that, and to get the tape recorder and all that, and the spoons, and I'm like, that's That's you, the guy that's lecturing. But that's you. You're crap. I'm thinking to myself, he's crap. Oh, crap, the Krapp's last tape. He's crap. He's the title character. He's crap. You know, and what's going to happen here, this is a lecture. We're not having a screening of Krapp's last tape. It's just that he's just making a wee point with this. This is the guy that's giving us this lecture live in front of us. He's on screen, and this is an act. This is him. This is obviously his first love. He's an actor. Not like a football manager's first love is playing the game. You know, this is him at his peak, at his height, doing what he most wanted to be in his life. Obviously, an actor. This is him doing one of the most famous roles in theatre, and it's only going to be a short excerpt. But we're going to have to fucking applaud. At the end of it, we have to applaud this. Everybody in this, and nobody realises it's him. I could look in a room and I could see a lot of the folk are falling asleep. No, they're hungover and stuff. It's just students, general students. And I'm kind of making it as if, no, I know a lot of the folk in it. I'm kind of looking at folk in my tutorial group and I'm going, that's not, I'm nodding towards the screen, kind of that. And I'm nodding towards the lecturer who's sitting down at this point, looking in the semi-darkness while the lights are off so we can all see what's happening on the screen. And some folk aren't paying attention to the lecturer at all, they're just going there to, you know what it's like at these things. And some folk are looking back at me going, what's going on? You know, some folk are going, is that him? Aye, that's him. But most folk are kind of looking around, and we know it's going to come to an end shortly. He's just shown us an excerpt, and that's crap. It's all right. I'm actually quite enjoying it. No, it's like he's crap. I think it's quite a good performance. No, he's crap. Him or the lecturer, he's crap. I think it's quite a good lecture. No, he's playing crap. The lecturer is playing. I'm trying to mouth this, and folk are going, oh, he's crap. Oh, he's crap. Oh my god. And you couldn't really spread the word because you knew it was just about to end. You knew enough about the world, even at that young age, to know this guy. It's just decorum. He deserves the applause. It's a basic of manners. You know what I mean? The bravery to put up his own work there. And he stopped, but not enough people knew. So what happened was, it's like when Tav came off against Leon. You know, we were half an hour to go, and I was clapped. But that way, you know, applause. You're waiting to see how many other folk applaud as well. So if nobody had applauded, or if everybody had been a total standing ovation, the fella wouldn't have said in. But because it was, you know, like a sprinkling, a smattering of insecure in its own, you know, volume applause, he was forced to say, well, thanks very much for that show of, you know, appreciation or something. It was like sarcastic, it was cutting, it was devastating, and I couldn't quite get over it. And I always think about that, and I've watched Krapp's last tape, so many performers, I've been to theatre, and you've heard me talking about Tinker Tailor and prick up your ears. I even did a wee bit. I was taking I loved Krapp's last tape that much that I did in that. The whole point is the pod that I told this story for the first time. I did a bit of Krapp's last tape just as just to repay that lecturer, to repay him. I thought I have to get out there and I have to do it. And this is the only theatre I've got. So I did a wee bit of Krapp's last tape. I did the first 5 minutes of Krapp's last tape. I did a wee performance on it. Krapp's last pods, and it was pathetic, obviously, but I owed it to that guy for what he had to go through that day. That was the least I could do, and because I know the play so well, it was good fun for me. I quite enjoyed it as well. And I've talked about Gary Oldman. I did a bit from, you know, Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Christmas Day. I mean, my wife, that thing when I ask her, and I try to think of a few wee surprise things, a few wee bits and bobs. She doesn't, you know, she's got a pal, Diane, who's she's every fucking year. Diane comes in and just gives these spellbinding, brilliant presents that are just like, you know, no, it's not a money thing. It's just where she sourced them for, I don't know, but they're just spot on stuff that's always just shows me up as being the useless present buyer that I am. But I went for it, you know, got absolutely everything she could think of, and then so I'm always saying, don't get me it. No, I don't really want that much, you know. And I got the slippers. I needed the slippers, so I've got them. More for the athlete's foot than anything else. Really got to burn the other ones. But there's an envelope. I could see there was an envelope. Envelope's always trouble. Envelope always means a trip, tickets for some, you know what I mean. And there's been some crackers over the years, and so she's got me an envelope, opened it up, and it's Gary Oldman at York, the Royal Theatre in York, is doing Krapp's last tape for like a month. Did it for a month. Next year, the new year, 2025. And she's managed to get us tickets for that, the two of us. Which means a trip down there, obviously, but it's like the greatest. I don't really like sharing these things, it's kind of personal, but and just in case, lest you think I'm boasting, about the presents I've got or whatever like that, this is unbelievable. Gary Oldman in Krapp's last tape, because Gary Oldman, he started his career, and he'll be 67 by the time this place. Gary Oldman says getting to that point, he's already done George Smiley, and he's going to do Krapp. And my wife had got me, and he started his career. His first, performance as a professional actor was in 1979 in York. So he's just gone back basically because he can do anything. It's now Gary Oldman. He's just so famous, and he's gone back and he's going to do Krapp's last tape for like a month. It's like the King Lear, kind of modernist equivalent of King Lear, and he's going to do Krapp's last tape just for like a month. So there's all these members and all that of the York Theatre or whatever. They all buy up a ticket straight away. It's basically like we don't have my jers, and we're playing Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final, but she still managed to get us tickets, for and it's absolutely unbelievable. And it's a Saturday night, and I'm going, oh my god, this is is this Gary Oldman for? Aye, when is it? She's like, it's May. I think it's the first weekend in May. And just for a second, my eyes just the Saturday, the first, and she just knew. She's like, fucking unfucking believable. You're thinking about the football, aren't you? Are you going to? Well, I checked up. You always tell me check any games. I'm checking Scotland fixtures. I'm checking Rangers fixtures, and because it's after the break, it's after the split. You don't know the fixtures. And you are saying we weren't going to win the league this season anyway. So you're always saying that we can't let Rangers rule our life and stuff like that. So this is the bit. And I'm like, oh no, great. And it took me a second. I mean, it came out for a second. Just that wee, oh my god, I missed the Old Firm game at Ibrox. Because I missed the Old Firm game at Ibrox last season, the last one last season, because I was in Dollywood for the 25th wedding anniversary. And that was absolutely fine, because we only going to win the league last season anyway. But it's the first Old Firm game I've missed at Ibrox or Parkhead. It's the first Old Firm game I've missed at Ibrox that we're allowed to go to. Obviously, you get the COVID ones, you couldn't go to them in the 21st century. But I love my wife. It's 25th wedding anniversary. What else you got? I mean, I love her. So it's not a problem. 3 each, really scintillating game. We equalise late on. That kind of thing. Celtic think they've won it. We go back. But I'm no bothered. No bother at all. Not a problem. 25th minute. The marriage obviously means a lot more than Rangers, and so be careful that it was an Irish player, Oscar Wilde. The only thing worse than not getting what you want is getting it, and it's because we don't know it. The last 2 seasons, I think it's been the second Saturday. And that's the thing; it is a Saturday, because if it'd been a Sunday, if it's always a Saturday, the last Old Firm game, or the second last Old Firm game of the season, is always a Saturday. The last one. It's going to be a post-split, so I don't know what the date is. It's always a Saturday, so you can't, even if it's a 12 o'clock kick-off, there's no way I'm getting down to York for 7:30 and get a car parked and find the theatre and that. That's not going to happen, in time. So even if it was a Sunday, it's still going to a great experience at the theatre. You're going to basically going to drive overnight back up the road. I did that after the UEFA Cup final in 2008, mind you, but no, I just know it's not the same thing. And I just remember thinking to myself, do you know what this is? This is your belief in Rangers, as well as telling myself as a fat, fucking selfish, spoiled arsehole. And it's just an absolute disgrace of a person in making all these pronouncements on this podcast. But you can't take football that seriously. We can't let it. But it made me realise, apart from anything else, I still believe we're going to win the league. On Christmas Day. On Christmas Day, you think I'm doing the thing when I'm trying to put all the Celtic fans off? I put all the ambulance chasers off by just rabbiting pish. It is pish, but it is pish that's pertinent to what happened today. Because what Philippe Clement has done is he's managed to take a breather between 2 Old Firm. He's just taken a breather between 2 Old Firm games. But that's involved 3 league games in which Rangers have been increasingly crap. Now, obviously, we got a draw the day after having lost to St Mirren, but he continued with the policy of doesn't really matter. We're thinking about beating Celtic. It's like, we know it's a project, Philippe. We know it's a project. You don't have to just ensure that it's a project this season, that we're no going to win the league this season. Just so that we know this is a project. Look, this is part of the rebuilds. We're not supposed to win the league this season. That's no part of the plan. You're not supposed to so completely take that off the table. Now I'm watching it. We're now 14 points behind Celtic. Remember I was saying last night? I was saying last night that you can see that two ways. You can see that even last night. I'm saying after what happened in Paisley, I am still insisting to my fellow Blue Noses. This thing about the woman, the female, I was a woman. They're the worst, aren't they? A female journalist in Paisley. I'm only saying, I don't know the person's name. I like to try and give credit to the journalists who are asking the questions that keep us informed. There was a female journalist is asking Philippe Clement in Paisley after the game the other night, 12 points behind, and it's not even the new year, and I'm thinking, well, that can actually go another way. You're 12 points behind, but it's not even the new year. So it's not even new. We're not even halfway through. We're not even halfway through the league fixtures, are we? We're not even halfway through the league fixtures. It's 18 games gone, and I was saying last night we're averaging 2 points a game. It's now bang on. 18 league games played, 36 points. Bang on, averaging 2 points a game. Just a point below that in the 6 games played in the Europa League group stage, and we're on 11 points. But it's 2 points a game he's getting. He's still doing that. And I was saying last night, but that's 12 points behind, but you've still got another 3 Old Firm games in the league to play. And if we dent Celtic's confidence by beating them, they could drop points elsewhere. And that's what I was implying. I didn't think we're going to win the league, really. At the front of my brain. But the minute you get told that you are not going to be at the second Old Firm game of the season, and for a very good reason, for the best reason possible, it's basically the best thing that can happen to you outside of the Fitbit, outside of Rangers. You folk have kids and they get married. That's all done right for me. That's all sorted. All the kind of crucial stuff that helps you survive, like that helps you loving people and stuff. That's sorted. After that, you've got your other passion, your first passion, the passion that living in the modern age and having actual leisure time lets you enjoy. Having a wee bit of spare cash, a bit of disposable income lets you enjoy. And I just thought, I can't. I went to uni. I didn't see a single game in the 1991-1992 season because I was saving up to pay off my debts so I could go to uni as a mature student. I was only like 23 or whatever. So after that, I would maybe pick out a game, 2 or 3 games a season I would get to while I was actually at uni as a mature student. But the idea was that was more important than just being some yob who, earned his money, 95 during the week, and just spent all his money on going to see Rangers home and away and playing football as well with his mates in any spare time. I needed more from life than that. So I went and I got the degree. I mean, the degree thrown at me, really. It wasn't that great. It was just, the only reason I got into uni is because I'd worked for a while and I was a bit older, and it was to get into uni, it was a lot easier when you were a mature student. You get in with a couple of C's and modern studies and history or something like that, get into Oxford with that. But whereas when you're actually going straight through school, you've got to be a total boffin. So it was cheating all round, and then I ended up doing a remedial year and all that. To get to the stage, it took me 5 years to get to the stage, no pun intended, theatre and stuff like that, to get to the point where I'm still the same arsehole whose life completely revolves around rain. It's like I took a couple of years out to do all the stuff that people regard as the most important stuff in their life, so relationships, education, career, stuff like that, and then I just went straight back to it's all about Rangers. It's all about Rangers. To the point where I realised that the most beautiful thing about it, though, is realising that you have hope, even when you don't. Even when your brain's telling you you're trying to be the kind of sage. I've been following Rangers for 40 odd years, nearly 50 years. I know when we're not going to win the league. I know just don't worry about it. It's a rebuild. I'm actually thinking that even at 12 points behind. It wasn't that. And what was it? Was it 9 points still on Christmas Day? Because Celtic had just dropped the points at Tannadice, hadn't they? Last Saturday, and I was, that's I think we're actually going to win the league. I think we're going to win like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to see Gary Oldman in the theatre. Well, and I'll get Katrina, she can come with me. I'm like, no, that'd be terrible. So I had to spend the whole of Christmas Day apologising to a wife who was totally pissing herself at me at the fact I'm still such a complete dickhead when it comes to the Fitbar. But now, quite happy. You know, Rangers have really sorted it out for me. The days for, you know, I've done this before Christmas, Rangers. I've done this before Christmas, so I kind of went, oh, thank fuck. Not only am I going to see Gary Oldman playing Krapp, Rangers have played so crap that I don't have. I'll be quite happy to miss it. Wouldn't want to miss it anyway. Anorak wise, you know, I'm still hoping I get to see the. I'm hoping it's a away game. I'm not even doing away games because I don't do away games. I do Hampden. I haven't missed a game at Hampden since 2002-3 League Cup final, which, as I've told you before, I was still I'm bitter about it. That's because I'd moved house and the Rangers took it over and they sorted out the address and they sent it to the ring address. There was nobody sitting in my seat that day. That seat was empty. But I've only missed one Rangers game at Hampden in the last quarter of a century or whatever like that. But I'm no bitter about that. But I don't go to away games. I know the other day I wasn't. I stopped that. I started just doing league and Scottish Cup. I wouldn't miss a league and Scottish Cup game. I think that was up until about 2010 or something. I was still seeing every Rangers League Cup game, Scottish Cup game, no matter whether it was at Ibrox or at Dunfermline or whatever, or Dunfermline against East Fife, wherever they were getting played. And then I weeded them out as well when I just started. It's just Hampden and Ibrox, but I still have, even if it's no about Rangers winning something and me being there, it's about just being there. It's about the total. I mean, I'm looking at the old Footballogy. You got the Footballogy app, you need to have the Footballogy app. If you like going to football now, you need to have the Footballogy app. And I have been to my last game of 2024. It was a Dundee game, wasn't it? They hit the bar 4 times plus 1-0. You know, I don't really know the rules of the hurling and the Gaelic football and what have you. But see how the 2 different scores. I think we should have got an extra point for each of the times that we hit the bar in that game against Dundee. That would get the goal difference up. That'd be a more accurate reflection of the score. Maybe that's how Philippe Clement thinks against it. The whole point is that was my last game of 2024. And it's 37 Footballogy tells you in the calendar year, because you don't split it up into seasons, because obviously every season, most folk count how many games have been in a season, but they can't do that in Footballogy because it's folk from all over the world and they're seeing, you get Irish folk and Swedish folk, and their seasons are running through the summer. Southern Irish, Republic Island folk, their seasons are running through the summer. Okay, folk for London, Derry, they play in the League of Ireland, and they might think themselves as being. I don't know how it works, right? And you know what I'm talking about. Not all league seasons run the same way, folks. The seasons, it's a worldwide thing, Footballogy, and so it tells me that the count list, you got 37 games I've been to, and that's quite a low total. It's my lowest since I went to 36 games in 2016 calendar year and 2017 calendar year. It was 36 of each of them. But the most I've ever been to was 2008 calendar year. 2008 I went to 67 games. Quite a total there. Davy Weir, I think he was 73 years old. 2007-2008 season, and he played 75 games. Or was it 80? I can't remember. Chris Boyd was telling us today how many games he played, but it's quite a thing to notice. The one thing about this season was I've only been to Ibrox and Hampden. I thought that's quite satisfying for this year, this calendar year. I've only ever been to Ibrox and so many times at Hampden, because obviously Rangers played there, using it as a home stadium at the beginning of the season. I looked down the list, and in March 2024, I spoiled it for myself by going to 2 different grounds. One after the other during the international break. I went to St Mirren's ground to see Scotland under 21s beating Kazakhstan under 21s 4-1, and the following weekend I went to see Glenvale beating Knightswood 4-2 in the West of Scotland Division 4 at McKenna Park, which is the Ants at St Anthony's new ground. It's new to me, like the Golden Wonder Crisps. It's a while since, but St Anthony's, remember they used to play, where that kind of, I think, is it a call centre or something like that? It's just Helen Street, corner kind of Helen Street, and is it Shield Hall Road or is it Edmondson Drive by that point? I can't remember, but that used to be just the closest ground to Ibrox was St Anthony's, green and white hoops and all that, and their kind of history providing Celtic players, and that was the closest other ground to Ibrox. It was non-league, and then St Mirren. I mean, you've got closer grounds to Ibrox in league terms, obviously, but St Mirren just down the Paisley Road, on Paisley Road West practically, so it's a really close. And it seems like I'm trying to work it. Is it those two grounds, going to those 2 grounds, ruining the Ibrox Hampden pattern? Is that some sort of juju? Is it because, I don't know, there was 4 goals scored by the home team in both their games. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's obviously St Mirren. I was there, and we get beat at St Mirren the other night for the first time since 2011. So I must have jinxed that. But I can't work out how the Glenvale versus Knightswood in the West of Scotland Division 4 was due. Maybe it's just the fact I was at St Anthony's. I was at their ground at Green and White Hoop. The ground it's hosted, and I've seen the Winton there. My home non-league team, my number one non-league team, and I've seen Scotland juniors playing there as a triangular tournament. We Republic Island, no, Northern Ireland in the Isle of Man, the juniors in Swiss Scotland playing Northern Ireland juniors. I've seen a lot of different things at McKenna Park, including St Anthony's. I am trying to get rid of the Celtic fans because I don't want it. My name's Alec Anderson. Music can be such a revelation. Dancing around, you feel the sweet sensation. We might be lovers if the rhythm's right. I hope this feeling never ends tonight. Only when I'm dancing can I feel this free. At night I lock the door where no one else can see. I'm tired of dancing here all by myself. Tonight I'll dance with somebody else. Misinformation last night, or a lot of bad things in that pod last night. I'm doing it the same tonight. I'm not finishing the points I'm starting to make. It's the festive period, excuse me. I'm getting, it's mixing it with the drink and the lack of sleep and the bins and stuff like that. But I was saying how Raskin was a booking away, from getting suspended from the Oldham game. And it was Ian Crocker today told us, no, that's not the case anymore. For the Motherwell game today, Raskin can get booked, but it'll be 7 days before his suspension kicks in, so he would still be able to play in the Old Firm game. I thought, wait, he could get injured, he could get a red card. It's still Raskin's still a risk, and this is the dichotomy at the heart of the team selection today. If you've just given up PC, if it is a case of you have just rested between Old Firm games, it's like he's another point I was trying to make there. He's decided from 2 weeks ago, this Sunday, 2 weeks ago, when we lost on penalties to Celtic in the League Cup final. And, obviously the controversy around the VAR failure to, a factual overturn that should have been made in that game. Between then and I think he's actually looking towards next Thursday, the next Old Firm game. I think he's just rested. I think he's rested in his head. I think he feels the players need a rest. He can rotate, and it's just all about beating Celtic. And even if that is the case with that team selection today, why are you playing Raskin? Why are you risking Raskin? Now, we've got no choice with centre-halves because we're down to the bare bones there. But why would you play Raskin? Why would you play Diamande, who's probably likely to start against Celtic? Why did you not get Connor Barron out on the park today? I don't know. But I get the point. I really understand. I'm not... That's Chris Boyd having a go at sports science. They'll not get sacked. You'll get sacked. That's a good point. But you're saying the same thing at Pataudry and that. After the 2-1 defeat there, I get the point there, but I don't. And for a start, Raskin's Clement. I'm getting my Belgians mixed up. He's not deferring to the sports scientist. He's using him as an excuse. He's just using that as backup because he knows he's going to get flack for resting these players. Because they're first choice, because they're obviously our best players. He's going to get flack for resting IGAMANE, having IGAMANE on the bench today, having Cherny on the bench today. So he's just trying to provide evidence and also probably hiding behind it as well. It's not as if the sports science guys come in and tell him, right, they're dropped. They don't put him up against a wall and tell Clement, right, shut it, Baldy. He's not playing today. Clement makes a decision. I think I was on here last night saying we could anybody with eyes, never mind any kind of scientist. I only got a C for my chemistry and for my physics O grade, so I'm not very good with that kind of stuff. But anybody with eyes could see that Cherny was getting tired, especially the other night. You could see he's getting warm, and it's no surprise at all the amount of games he's played. And Clement's out there with the stats about how many he's played, twice as many games this year as he played last year and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. So I can't be on here last night doing the preview pod and saying Cherny's got to get rested, he's due a rest, and then be surprised that he's not playing today. Kind of surprised that Cortez comes in. I'm surprised it's Kieran Dow is coming. Why is Ross McCausland? I would have thought Ross McCausland is your choice there to come on and replace Cherny. A player who has done well for us this season, Ross McCausland, who's done well basically ever since he's become a Rangers first team player. He's been out the picture for a while. It's pretty much Kieran Dow, but a little pop-up subs appearance here and there for Kieran Dow, but he's pretty much out the picture as well. Although Kieran Dow did score after 3 minutes the last time we played Motherwell at Fir Park. kind of in the festive period before an Old Firm game. As we went to Parkhead this time last year, but he scored we won 2-0 that game. This was Christmas Eve last year. It's not going to happen today. It wasn't going to happen at all. But it just seemed kind of a very weird team. It was kind of mixed and matched. And Hadji being out, I think that's added to the whole thing. Oh my God, Hadji's not playing either. He's dropping so many players, but Hadji was ill. He's ill. He's not even on the bench. Right, that's fine. I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay for Thursday. He's not got a lot of choices, as I say, with Balogun and with, as we know, Big John Souttar. So they're resting because they're injured. He's got to have Sterling and Proper in there. That's his next best choices. But I think there's players the other day that we think, why would they not be playing? And perhaps IGAMANE and Cherney, if they had started the game, would have got sucked into the same general dwam as the rest of the players. They would have been thinking, I've got 90 minutes in front of me here, this is going to be brutal, and they wouldn't have put the same amount of energy into it. It could have been the same thing, but I think oh my God, the team selection is completely wrong, it's completely mental, that's not the case. It's not completely mental. I can see what he's trying to do. I don't get why. It seems to be a kind of mix and match between I want to rest players, but also I want to try and win the game in the first half. And he's got to give the squad a chance. But I think we're going to find out this week. We're going to find this week how much Patrick Stewart, CEO, the new CEO, how much he's invested in the project, how much he believes in the project, how much he believes that Philippe Clement is the man. I am still very much of the not very much. It's obviously less so now, because that was so terrible in the first half today, and it's the fact it follows so hard upon us being so terrible in the first half at St Mirren. They're like carbon copy games for us. I mean, St Mirren and Motherwell were swapping places around about the middle of the table, and we're going to two away grounds, kind of windy weather, slightly open, smaller stadiums, kind of uncomfortable, but very near Ibrox, not a big away trip. It's almost carbon copy, so you can't be making the same mistake at Paisley as you did at Fir Park, but he hasn't, because at Paisley he started IGAMANE. He started Danilo and IGAMANE in that game. He had Bajrami. Their Cherney started that as well, and we were woeful in the first half. So perhaps the managers just thought, well, we're going to be shit in the first half anyway, I might as well no risk anybody. But Motherwell really had one number, again, even more so than St Mirren the other nights. And it was getting towards, talking about memories of St Mirren, I remember Tony Mowbray getting his arse handed to him. Was it 4-0 or 4-1? His last game in charge of Celtic. St Mirren just destroyed them, and I felt as if it was going to end up being at one point today. You thought we're going to lose this game, 3-4-0. We're not just going to get beat off Motherwell. We're going to lose it. It's our away form continues to be a problem. We're scoring goals. Remember, we'd only scored 2 away goals in something like 3 months domestically, and now that's us got. We've got 3 in the last 2 games. We've got 3 in the last 3 days. So we're scoring goals, and we didn't get beat today. We did manage to hold on for the draw, but in many ways it was a carbon copy. Woeful first half, even more woeful than it was at Paisley. It was a carbon copy of that game in so many ways. And when we equalised, it took us 2 goals to equalise the draw level today. They come back, but then it fades. It fades, and it's they don't seem to have that killer instinct. The team, they've got a team on the rack to push forward and go for it more and just get that extra goal. They don't seem to want the win almost, but today we didn't come off the boil to the point where we lost the game late on, despite being 101 minutes, I think, when the final whistle was blown, but we didn't win it either. And for Rangers at Motherwell, that's the minimum you need to be doing. I think we're seeing that Philippe Clement definitely does think it's a project. He definitely is planning ahead. He just was looking at these 3 games: Dundee at home, St Mirren and Motherwell away, as kind of mere warm-ups, training exercises to have another go at Celtic. The problem is, the main criticism of Clement over the last year has been, knee-jerk loyal or whatever, has been all these victories, even in Europe, are just papering over the cracks because he can't beat Celtic. There's the emotional thing for us as Rangers of beating Celtic, but there's just the fact that Celtic, if we don't beat them, they're the best team in the country. So they're the team we have to beat, and we're second best. We're second in everything last season. It was Celtic that beat. Celtic didn't beat us. They get put out by Kilmarnock in the League Cup. We go and win the League Cup. They're first in the league, we're second in the league. They beat us a last-minute goal in the Scottish Cup final. So all three domestic tournaments last season. So far, it's another one this season. They've beaten us even narrower margin than the Scottish Cup final. They beat us in the League Cup final this season. But I don't know, maybe if Aberdeen have beaten Dundee United at Tannadice while I'm recording this, we are now in 3rd place again. third place. And never mind the fact we could go 17 points behind Celtic on Thursday. I think it's now a fact that if we beat Celtic on Thursday, well, it's down to 11 points. And he's reduced actually beating Celtic to papering over the cracks. The problems he's created between these two Old Firm games for himself. It's just a terrible performance at home against... It wasn't a terrible performance. It was slow and we weren't quite as deadly as we usually are, but it was better, I think, than the stuttering home performances that we had early on in the season, albeit most of them were victories as well. But it still was... It was slowed down, and you thought, well, it's a recovery from all the emotion and all the extra effort of the League Cup final 6 days beforehand. But then we go to St Mirren and it's terrible for the entire first half with a proper lineup out there. And then today we've gone out and we've rested a few players. It's bringing in Matondo as well, I think. Bringing Matondo in for when he's not been appearing as a substitute. I mean, I know he played for the B team against Queen's Park, but he's no... It was against Celtic at Queen's Park, at Lesser Hampden. But just to go straight into the first team for a start in a game like this, I just don't think Clement is in any way interested in trying to win the league. I don't think he thinks it's possible, but he knows that the next step, I think he's painting the picture. He thinks the next step, if I can beat Celtic, need to beat Celtic. They're doing well in Europe. Won as a cup last season. We're almost certainly going to finish second anyway, so we'll get that other Champions League attempt at qualifying for the Champions League. We'll guarantee that slot minimum. And Aberdeen will keep falling away, but I'm not really interested. You've got to keep moving forward in every game to learn, even to build. Never mind win anything. I think he's taken a massive risk with his attitude to these 3 games, or maybe the players just don't have it in them. So he's decided, right, I'm just going to target beating Celtic, and everything from the end of that League Cup final towards next Thursday has been focusing on just keeping the team ticking over so they can go out and unleash on Celtic. The problem is what's happened in between times is going to devalue the win over Celtic if it comes on Thursday. And I still fancy it. I still fancy us to do them. But apart from anything else, it might be because Celtic are just... we're playing the weirdest mind games of all on Celtic, which is like, we're going to make it look so easy that you'll not be able to concentrate. You'll not be able to fully focus because you probably don't even need to win this game. It's bad. It's really bad. So it depends how much Patrick Stewart believes in this idea that Philippe Clement has a plan and that plan is working. So many Rangers supporters have completely chucked it with him today. So I don't know, was it 7 changes or something? I don't know, but Butland remained in goals. Tav was the captain, and I think if you got depends how you get your team news today. Maybe if you get it on the team squad numbers don't let you see the players in order, but if you were looking at maybe the BBC website where it gives you the team information, not information, but the team in the formation that they're going to be set. You'll be scrolling down that, you're looking at Butland's in goals, Tav's at left back, and it is proper in Sterling. So Balogun's no made it. It's proper in Sterling at centre half. That was pretty inevitable. And Hefty's been vested. He was looking a bit jaded the other night at times. So Yilmaz, he's been getting himself back into the team, not playing wide right. Now he's back in at wide left now, playing at full back. That's fine. That's fine for you. That should be okay. That's an acceptable change. Raskin's playing fantastic. That's going to be great. He's got him in there. He wants to win. He knows he's got to win this game to get some momentum going again after that horror show at Paisley. Diamandi's in there. That's tremendous. Cortez is still. That's quite. Kieran Dowell's. Dessers is up for what the. What's gonna? Danilo's playing. No, that's the main thing. Well, you wanted 2 strikers. I said, we've got to play with 2 strikers. That's what you get for no specifying the 2 strikers you wanted. Big cereals on there. The Cyrillic. The Cyrillic alphabet, which consists of the letters M, I, S, and S again, he got into great positions. As Neil McCann was pointing out in the Sky commentary, Dessers gets into great positions, but a lot of eyebrows were raised. This needed to work, and we know that an absolute disgrace we didn't get an interview on Sky. Obviously, I want to hear from my manager, the manager of my team, but it's a disgrace that Stuart Kettlewell wasn't given the time to have a post-match interview on Sky during the actual live coverage. I know they were pushed for time, but cracking bloke, lovely fella, always comes across really enthusiastic. He's got a plan, and what have you. I'm not saying I want him as the Rangers manager, but bad that he wasn't heard from. But he must have been thinking, bit of disrespect there. I'll take this, and this is the third game. The third game in which we've scored this season, but we've scored 2 goals against. We've scored 2 goals against Motherwell, and they always go into the same net, and it wasn't going to be the net in the first half. I think the way the game started, we had ball went rasking, took a total thump off somebody within the first minute. But he took that thump, then he took a breath, then he took the ball, and he just spread it out, and that was us. We were attacking again, and we had a chance. It was ended up with Diamandi having a shot that kind of just kisses the top of the net. Did it touch the top of the bar? It's over, but it's like, yeah, we mean business. That's good. We've got the Nacional kit on, the Nacional Montevideo kit on with the white, the blue. Only the blue shorts have survived for the kit on Thursday night. You're thinking, it's going to be good, and you knew, but the wind was howling and blowing, and it was blowing over the bins, and it was blowing the rubbish everywhere, all over Glasgow, all over the west of Scotland. You knew that could be a problem with those lopsided stands at Fir Park, and then you've got the bit between the Motorola stand and the main stand that they had to keep. They couldn't build that main stand, the old main stand at Fir Park. It couldn't go the full length of the park because they didn't want to block the light of the sandstone villas in the street, the First Street. That's outside, and the wind comes whipping in round there as well. It's all higgledy-piggledy, and it's just no fair. We can't cope with this. We've got Dessers and Danilo playing at the back after the horror show they ended up having between them the other night. Most of it, sorry, not Dessers and Danilo, so beg your pardon. I'm talking of, that's reflexive there. Self-reflexive, Dessers and Danilo, when I'm actually meaning to say Proper and Sterling. So I think it was Proper in the left. First 5 or 6 minutes, he had a couple of dodgy moments under pressure in the first 5 or 6 minutes towards his own box. Wasn't looking very good. 10th minute, Diamandi's dilly-dallying in the ball in the kind of halfway line, gets caught, I think, by Lennon Miller, fouls whoever it was anyway, risking a booking, gets a chat for the referee, thinking this isn't going as smoothly as I thought it was going to go. 14 minutes, Proper gets booked because he just couldn't cope. He was up in the Motherwell half, and he knew they were going to break on him, and he goes in, and one guy kind of bowls him over slightly, then I think he grabs the other guy's shirt as he's past him as well. That's him booked after 14 minutes. He's just... And then in 16 minutes, he heads the ball straight to an on-rushing Motherwell player. It comes off the boy's arm, but he's got his arm into his chest, and the whole rule is if it's no part of the goal-scoring movement or something like that, the ball just comes off the boy's arm. He's got his arm, and he jumps up to block the ball, but Proper just hits it straight at him. I mean, a centre-half who can't even bluter the ball sideways into the stand or something like that. He just puts it straight onto the on-rushing guy. It's outside our box. And as the ball goes down, Dujon Sterling and Proper both stop and appeal. I scored at Deepdale against the AT Mays North of England admin office 11. Deepdale used to be plastic pitch, and Preston North End used to hire it out. And it was the American Express sponsored this wee tournament for the AT, the travel agency, the kind of nationwide travel agency that I worked for at the time. And I worked in the head office in Saltcoats. And so we played this 50. I was gassed at me, but that's what they did. They played the ball forward, and I handled it. But there was only a referee. Didn't have linesmen. We didn't pay for a linesman. Just paid for a referee. And the ref was behind me. He never saw me, handling. He thought I chested it. The two centre halves stood me. Handball ref, and I just carried on, didn't do the keeper away I went, and that was it. You cheating Scottish bastard. Yep, you better believe it. But that's the level. That's pub league stuff. And there's Proper and Sterling. Real appeal for this. The guy piles through. It went back to somebody else fired the ball through, and it's with enough pain from Australians with Greek names over there. I can't remember the guy. It's Apostolidis or something. Sorry, that sounds so fucking racist. I'm going to look up actually. I'm acknowledge the guy who scored the goal against us. That's out of order. What have we got? It's the fella. He goes through Stamatolopoulos at 16 minutes. He carries on through between our two stock still appealing for nothing centre halves, and puts the ball through the Butland's legs. Butland he's on his line, or he's coming out too much. It's the dilemma continues. A bad day for Butland, and he now is a problem, but it goes through his legs underneath him into the net. Easy peasy goal. And yeah, we beat Motherwell in the League Cup semi-final after losing the first goal. It's been 2-1 against Motherwell. We beat them 2-1 in the previous two meetings this season, so you're not panicking too much. I'm thinking hopefully that'll wake them up, but I just don't know what more Yilmaz could have done. He was after not really able to find his targets the other night when he comes on as a sub. He got his eye in the day, and he's putting in fantastic crosses from the left-hand side, but the one he hits the byline, he pulls it back for Danilo. Danilo misses from about 8 yards out or something like that. It's just a simple header into the corner. He's got the whole goal to aim at, and he manages to just somehow get it wide, go past the far post, We blame Dessers for that kind of stuff. And there's Danilo doing it as well. A terrible, terrible miss. 25 minutes, Proper plays the ball straight out, just straight out the park. The same bit they picked up the booking and into the main stand side and just kind of starts blaming the pitch, And it might be a problem with the pitch. It might be a problem. Just deal with it. You don't look like you're blaming other facts. And this is the problem. Is this going on in the dressing room? Are they blaming everything else? They're not taking responsibility. You made an arse of it. Is it 34 minutes and 7 seconds? It come up on Sky that Motherwell got their second goal, and this is a bit of a car crash as well. They just did a ball out in the wing and they hooked it up, just poked a high ball up into the box. I don't know what way the wind was blowing the day at Fir Park. If you were there, you can tell me. It looked at first it was just blowing towards the David Cooper stand because we were playing so many balls through that were just Dessers a couple of times just couldn't get in the end of stuff and all that. He was making the right run but didn't have the pace, didn't have the touch. It was one early on. There was one within the first 2 or 3 minutes that came to Dessers. It was a long ball, and he runs onto. He's basically one-on-one with the keeper. He's one-on-one with the keeper with the ball just dropping in front of him in favour of him, and he can't get the touch onto it. And it's like, yeah, I keep sticking up for the guy. He scored 12 goals this season. I'm saying it's just folk can't deal with the fact that he doesn't score every chance. This is what you've got to do when he's the only striker he got available. I thought it would get better when it was another striker playing with him. It didn't happen. Didn't happen at all today. He had a couple of terrible misses. A couple of terrible moments. Just the usual thing. You're just not expecting anything to happen when the ball goes to Big Cyril, I'm afraid. So I don't know if it's that the wind is blowing all over the place anyway, but there's still no excuses. They just howk the ball, using the wind, if you like, Motherwell, cleverly, into the kind of hour left of the box. Dujon Sterling goes up, and it's a weak header just to the end of the box. It gets played quickly back into, again, it's one of those days to add... one of those days where Motherwell are adding the danger of mispronouncing foreign names to injury in this game. It was Mas Wanhise. So it was. It sounds terrible. You struggle to pronounce a name that's slightly foreign. Mas Wanhise. Ball comes to him eventually. Tav's kind of marking him, but not tight enough or whatever. He does. It's a lovely touch. He has a lovely wee touch to turn himself and kind of get away from Tav, make the space, and he slots it past Jack Butland. But we are all at sea. The box is just full of white shirts. They become more like white flags, don't they? They can't mark him at all. They can't close him down. We're 2-0 down. 40 minutes. Dessers, a great turn by Dessers. He had wee moments where he did look like he could be an outside the box kind of player, but he turns and feeds a great wee pass into the feet of Dow, who's kind of basically going through. Defenders in front of him, but he's going through towards the middle of the box. He knocks it out left to Cortez. Motherwell did give us areas of space the way they play, and Cortez has just got the whole box to run into. It's at an angle, yeah, but it's just got the whole box to run into. He could walk it into the net himself, or he could cut it back for somebody, but he managed to clip it past the near post out for a goal kick. We can't defend, we can't convert. Sitters, it's not going to end well. Half time, the away end, the big away end at Motherwell, and they are booing. It's just you can hear the boos raining down. It's almost like a Rangers home game. IGAMANE and Cherny come on at half time, and you're thinking, yeah, okay, they come on for the second half. Sorry, there's only so many times a manager can gut out the players at half time for the lack of, particularly if it's different players. So the guys he was gutting out at half time, 2 of them at Paisley on Boxing Day night are now getting brought on. At half time to try and resolve it today. And 49 minutes, 4 minutes into that second half, Danilo hits the post, and before you can actually think, oh God, is this going to be another one of these ones where we start hitting the post like against Dundee? It bounces, but it's like a nice kind of bouncing, cultured shot by Danilo, where he's just trying to get it on target in a packed box. Comes off the post, and it comes out to IGAMANE, who just left foot rifles the thing straight in, just lashes it straight into the back of the net. So it's instant improvement. You're still processing your anger at the fact these guys haven't started the game, but as I say, they did start the game at Paisley, and it wasn't. We didn't start that game well either. Instant proof in the mistake in Clement's team selection at the beginning of the game, as far as everybody's concerned. But on the go, it's at 53 minutes. Lennon Miller on Cortez, that could easily have been a red card. I don't know if it should have been a red card. They certainly got a good look at it, but I know there's that whole thing of when you slow things down, you watch an action replay, they look worse, but it studs up on the guy's ankle, It's this open studs on the guy's ankle, and I think Lennon Miller is actually such a good player that he would know what he's doing, if you know what I mean. It wouldn't be accidental. He doesn't have to do that. It looked like a possible red card, but maybe that's because I knew Lennon Miller was playing well against us, and I was wanting him sent off. But he wasn't sent off. Cherny has a shot that comes off the post, kind of as it's saved by the keeper, goes out for a corner. You think Arbigoni actually managed to keep this up? He's only played for 15 minutes in the second half the other night, really, at Paisley. And then we totally got off it on up the other end. Stuart Kettlewell gets sent off, the Motherwell manager. He's losing his shit, and it's reminding you of Michael Robinson. I keep calling him Michael Robinson. That's the guy who played for Brighton and Liverpool. Was it Real Sociedad? Back in the kind of late 70s, early 80s. Stephen Robinson for St Mirren the other night, he was starting to lose it at the start of the second half as he could see what Rangers were doing. They were turning the game around. St Mirren were losing all the momentum, and there was Kettlewell losing it today as well. Now, I didn't like the manager. It was on Rangers TV, quick interview before the game today. He mentioned some Motherwell being unlucky at Parkhead because they had a bad decision went against with the penalty. It's okay talking about penalties we didn't get against Celtic in games that we're playing them. Don't get into that thing of talking about it. When it's games that we're not playing in, Celtic games, Celtic getting lucky penalties or whatever, that's soft penalties in games that we're not involved in. I don't know if that's why Kettlewell was so upset, but he was having problems with, I think, just with Rangers starting to take Motherwell to pieces. You could see the two-goal lead was now only a one-goal lead, but he gets sent off up to the stand, and then it's a corner. It's a corner to Motherwell, and yeah, it just Jack Butland punches it into his own net. Jack Butland punches it into his own net, and if the law is you put your hand on the goalkeeper in any way, shape, or form, that's fine. It looks like Kevin Clancy's trying to make up for the decision he gave against Alfredo Morelos when he scored that goal, that opener at Parkhead, which if he'd been allowed to stand, we'd still have Michael Beale as manager. We wouldn't have to put up with this guy that I've never backed before. Steve McLean on VAR says it was a push, but I think if you've played football, I know that's a terrible thing, but the problem is I know if you've played football, you realise that's not much. What Tony Watt has come on as a substitute for Motherwell at this point in time. He's a big dude now, Tony Watt, 31 years old today he was, so the idea that he was putting Motherwell 3-1 up later on was fantastically poetic. It didn't happen. But he's kind of challenging Butland on his line. There's no centre-halves getting rid of Tony Watt in classic sense of just get the guy off the goalkeeper. But Jack Butland is not standing up to him, and he's put his hand on him, and Butland's just, it's kind of hands across, it's minimum contact, minimal, it's literally touching him, and Butland punches the ball into his own net under minimal pressure. It's standard stuff. It's really quite scary. Jack Butland has completely fallen away. I know I slag him and all that for different, but I thought it was safe to slag him for the things I slag him for because he was still essentially going to be, it was supposed to be a joke. He's going to be a great goalkeeper. He's going to be a really decent goalkeeper. So it was just a wee kind of a bête noir of mine that I was expressing. But I was sticking up from the other night because the centre halves, the central defence is changing in front of him with John Souttar not being there, and then it gets changed during the game at Paisley the other night. So I was sticking up from then. But today, that's 2 in a row now. He's been kind of nightmarish. So. But it was judged, Steve McLean on VAR saying, no, it is a push. And I think it's a technical push. And that's the thing. We do that thing when we go, well, in the real world, there's no way that's enough to put the goalkeeper off. But we also cry for consistency all the time. I want consistency. That's what we want to say. Well, when there's ultimate scenarios being thrown up by 22 athletes trying to do as much as they can to outwit each other over 90 minutes or 116 minutes, you're not going to, when you apply consistency, is going to have to necessarily ignore the reality of situations. It's going to have to go on technicalities at certain times. We suffered from it. I think that the fella who, they're saying the first goal we conceded today, the fella doesn't know what he's doing when the ball hits his arm, and he probably doesn't. But there was an incident earlier on in the first half where the ball goes into the Motherwell box. It was a corner to us, and the fella clears with his shoulder almost, and it's like, but he's got his arms are completely within the shadow. That kind of protocol. He hasn't extended his arms unnaturally, but he's leaned his whole body towards the ball. He knows what he's doing, but it isn't a penalty because you want consistency. You have to apply rules that are technical, and that's what we have here. That's the only reason we get away with that one today, or we're not getting away with it if it is an out and out. If it's just a factual thing that Jack Butland was factually fouled, but not effectively fouled. So now our pressure on the SFA is paying off with the VAR. And it was at 63 minutes with another disallowed goal. And this one was, no doubt about it, this was a factual overturn. It was a free kick into our box. It was offside. before it ends up going into the net. But I don't think our defence knew that it was offside. I don't think they were taking any chances. Just say, "Oh no, come on, ref!" It just allowed, albeit it was from the moment the ball was played in, it was going to be overturned. It still let our defence promote, advertise, expose just how crap they are right now, just how fragile they are. Motherwell end up putting the ball in the back of the net, but doesn't it? It's, again, they have another goal disallowed, so get the conspiracies in. Matondo come on for Cortez, was it 66 minutes? So we've got one recovering left-sided player coming on for another recovering left-sided player in a game that we really need to be winning. It's Lennon Miller, he goes off for Motherwell, kind of injured 67 minutes, thank fuck for that, because he was giving us a really hard time. And 6 to 8 minutes, IGAMANE, bang, 2 each at the ball. We work the ball from midfield, it goes out to the left-hand side, Yilmaz comes onto it, plays a nice wee ball, wee tidy ball into IGAMANE in the kind of inside left position. He's coming off that left side. And he takes it and turns both. He takes it inside both his stride by turning the ball, put it onto his right foot, and also into the box, just a couple of yards into the box, over on the right hand side, so our left hand side, sorry. And with his right foot, it's just a supremely cultured finish. Just curls it right across into the far corner, kind of arcs it, essays it, as they always say in the great football reports. He essays it into the far corner of the net. A beautiful opening up of the right foot shots. He scored the first one with the left foot, and then it's the second one he gets there. What's that? Barely 20 minutes later. It's like when a cat goes, I don't have a cat, but you see cats and they go and just suddenly they'll go up against a wee corner and they'll snuggle down into it. He didn't even realise it was a possibility for that nook to be comfortable until that cat went and just snuggled into it perfectly. It was that kind of finish. It was beautiful. And you're thinking, right, this is the test. This is the test. We did this the other night. We got level. And it's the same as when we went to Aberdeen and we came out the second half and dominated for like 20-25 minutes. Still, get the equaliser, lose the game. Did the same thing, Paisley the other night, came out, dominated for 15 minutes then, and then slightly ticking over to what, but didn't need, when we got the equaliser after 15 minutes the second half, and Paisley kind of stepped off a bit. Are we going to keep pushing on? We're going to keep pushing on. Cherny had one, he kind of dinked over the keeper, and it just got cleared off the line. We were causing havoc in their box. Constant corners, Ibrahim's belting it for the away end, and I'm already worried we're going to take our foot off the gas if we go 3-2 up. It never happened. Andy Halliday comes off 75 minutes. He was loving it today. Andy Halliday just had us in his back pocket all the time. A lot of gamesmanship, just showing his class. 76 minutes. Apparently, they're getting told by Sky that we don't do comeback. Once we go behind in the league this season, we get beat, and that's it. So it's always a case of you need us to get another goal to win the game. You need us to get a goal at this point just to have a chance of getting a draw. Because I did settle for a draw the other night at Paisley mentally, and then that was us. We ended up losing the game. Tav plays a ball from 76 minutes. Tav plays a ball from deep in the right hand side. Absolutely a worldie of a ball onto Matondo's head, and it goes past him. He's yards out, Matondo, but it's almost like the Dessers miss in the first half with his feet. Matondo just can't connect his head with it at all because he's no sharp. He's no match sharp. Neil McCann, 80 minutes, he makes a comment about helicopters, which obviously, that'll be, he's got complaints here from Celtic fans, helicopters, Fir Park and all that, but Cherny, put a ball over at Matondo, 82 minutes again, Matondo's in there, this time it's the back post, Cherny goes down the wing, right wing, pulls a cracking ball across to the back post, and Matondo comes in, and again, this time he does connect, but it's nowhere near on target, and we just kind of keep missing these chances, but it's almost like Ravi Matondo hasn't played first team football in months. Bajrami comes on for Diamandi, 89 minutes. You get your Swiss-born Albanian international who played for an Italian club. We got from an Italian club coming on for our Ghanaian Ivorian who played for a Danish club when we got a hold of him. Is this going to change stuff? Didn't really change much. Basically, come up 10 minutes injury time, you're thinking, that's great, we've got 10 minutes here to get this game won, and Motherwell definitely struggling. I think we had a Danilo shot in the 95th minute where he was provided the ball by the Motherwell centre half, not being able to clear his lines, and he gets the ball about 10, 12 yards out, takes it really well, controls it well, and turns around really smartly, but he just puts it over the bar, and we just don't have goal scorers. We don't have goal scoring strikers. Just get Shankland. Pay extra to get him now. Get Shankland. I don't know. I know he's not been scoring that many goals for Hearts, but Christ, get him in this team. He needs a change. We need a change. I just get somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net when presented with shit easy chances. So you can't say we weren't creating the chances, but there was nothing surprising about the way that game ended up today. IGAMANE, Cherny, Danilo, Bajrami, Hefty. We get these. You're trying to find out you're trying to think who are our regulars, who are our first team, who are our first choicers. They would all be running into the ground. They would be running into IGAMANE would have started the season too early if we'd played him more often. You could see that he was raw when he came on. He's trying to nearly get himself sent off the bench a couple of times. IGAMANE was so overly enthusiastic and without the fitness, the match fitness to keep up with his enthusiasm in the early part of the season. So we couldn't be playing him in the first team all season. The manager's quite right to have held him back, and he's certainly come to the boil. He's scoring goals, not for fun, obviously, but he's getting the kind of numbers that we're looking for. He looks like a goal-scoring striker, and we play him out on the left-hand side. It's a strange thing with the BBC, but I don't know why I keep checking it out, BBC Scotland website. I went in there, I think it's a strange kind of loyalty to the whole BBC corporation, but I went in there the day and checked, and again, they've got us doing this playing, what was that, like a 4-1-3-2, because we've got Dessers and Danilo and IGAMANE and Danilo on the park at the same time, but that's like saying, that's basically, if you're going by where the players end up playing in the game itself, in game time, well then our formation is basically 3-7 for most of the game, because you would have Tav as trying to hit the opposition byline most of the time, as is we're left-sided fullback. It's still 4-2-3-1, but Diamandi was going forward, and Raskin sits a bit deeper, but we play Danilo in a kind of nominally starting. It's where you nominally start the game. He's normally in the 10 position, which puts him between the posts, which puts him in that classic striker's position. IGAMANE is coming off the left-hand side nominally. He's in the 3, the left and the 3, but it's him and Cherny, who's the wide right player as well. They're scoring a lot of goals, but they've got to go into the team on Thursday. Chris Boyd's becoming a kind of professional grump, a pantomime Grinch. I mean, I love nothing more, I think, Rangers supporters, maybe it's football supporters in general, than taking it out on other Rangers fans, other supporters of our own team, other legends of our own team. And in Chris Boyd's case, when they're saying stuff we don't agree with. But this whole thing about, he was also slagging the team for why are they taking a lap of honour almost. He said, I don't get this thing. I've gone up and, to the fans. It's different if you've won a cup or something like that. They're going to say thanks. It's like, but you know that, Chris. You should know that. Don't go down the Sutton route. Maybe that's the only way you can get a job on Sky these days. It wouldn't surprise me. They like to stir stuff up. I think they don't have the faith that people are just going to enjoy the football, or they're going to watch the football anyway with all this pantomime crap. But if they didn't, we've had situations like that before. Rickson just went straight down the tunnel. Barry Ferguson just went straight down the tunnel. Didn't even turn and say thanks to the fans. Didn't come in faces. They've got to go and say thanks to the fans for travelling. And if they want to abuse you, that is their rights. And that's why you're going up to approach them and try and applaud them as players. It's nothing to do with thinking they're taking some sort of praise. They know by now, most Rangers players. But they did, and the players can turn around and walk down the tunnel if they don't want to, but they did have to face, the manager had to face Sky, had to face the interview, and he wasn't having the hindsight arguments about starting these players. And I think it's quite right, with the evidence of Thursday night, as I say, we started a pretty strong team against St Mirren, and we're still crap in the first half, but it's an hour and 18 minutes. I could probably go for the full 2 hours tonight, folks. I'm not going to do that to you. You're probably switched off long before now. It's an old man just shouting into the abyss. I don't really know where we go from here. We're going to find out. I like having the same manager. I would like the idea of having the same manager into 2025, just as I was saying last night, just for the sake of it. Just, can at least ensure consistency in that respect, that we've got the same personnel in charge of the first team in the technical area for a whole year. I stupidly kind of said out loud at the beginning of the season that the main thing was to keep the manager for the whole, have the same manager for a whole season, a entire season. And now I'm thinking about, because obviously when you say that, you assume that it's assumed that means he's performing to a certain standard. But I did think it was more. I wasn't looking towards winning the league. I knew it was going to be a rebuild. We knew it was going to be a rebuild. We can see the money's not there. We can see the amount of players that we've lost and the ones we've been able to get, the limited numbers of players we've been able to get in to replace them. We're having a clear out in a lot of instances for the sake of a clear out, getting folk off the wages, and also a lot of supporters, I think, were getting to the point where they weren't going to renew their season ticket because the players that were still there rather than the players that we weren't buying in. So that all had to happen during the summer. The idea that we're going to be able to, we don't have our own stadium at the beginning of the season, but we're going to be able to go up and challenge Celtic for the league title. I think that was pie in the sky. But we are definitely now at the point where it's unjustifiable to keep Clement to the people who think Rangers should be winning the league this season. There's no, that's it. There's no way. And that's why I was saying this whole convoluted thing about you're forced to realise how much you believe, how much you intrinsically as a football supporter, you know that league titles have been won from impossible positions. It is the hope that kills you kind of thing. And it's got to the point where I'm thinking, I don't want to see Gary Oldman in a once-in-a-lifetime performance, Krapp's last tape. But I'd rather go and see that, or if the post-split fixtures have us at home to Celtic that weekend, I would like to be there for that, because that could be the game where we turn the title. It's going to take an absolute miracle to do that now, and a massive collapse from Celtic. And as I say, I don't know. I might as well do it live. I might as well do it live and see what the scores were. The score was at Pittodrie. Sorry, was it Tannadice? And the other game of the night to find out if we're still behind Aberdeen. Dundee United beat them 1-0, so miraculously we're still in second place. We're still in. That is quite funny. Aberdeen are thinking Rangers they've only picked up 1 point in the last 2 games. Rangers, well, you haven't picked up any in forever, so we still managed to be in second place. But Jesus Christ, 14 points, and it could go to 17. The idea of getting it down to 11 is going to make a major difference. We would need to not just beat Celtic, but utterly destroy them. And that's always a possibility. That's still a possibility on Thursday. But as I say, the problem now is we've created a scenario where even beating Celtic on Thursday could seem like it's papering over other cracks that are more fundamental to the integrity of the building that is Rangers Football Club winning things in the future. A lot of fans totally convinced that Philippe Clement does not know what he's doing, and there's plenty of evidence to back that up. A lot of it's skewed in that direction. I still want to see. I think what he's doing in Europe just screams of a competence that is there. He must know what he's doing. The way we're playing in Europe, the fact that on those 7 away games we've lost none of them, won half of them, it's a phenomenal record. The performances have been there at times. There's been real signs that this manager knows what he's doing. This team knows what they're doing. But in league terms, that's been an absolutely shit couple of games, an unimpressive last 3 games. This has been a terrible spell between the 2 Old Firm games. We're going to have to take the energy we felt in that League Cup final at Hampden and redouble it and go out there and absolutely destroy Celtic on Thursday to have any chance of knocking them off their perch. Yeah, even then I think it'd be too late. But this is now more about showing the fans that the manager has maybe misjudged how to get it right, or the manager has to justify the squad is so thin, the money is so, unavailable. It's so not there. We're so poor. We've got so little money that this is all I can do. All I can do is basically sacrifice points at St Mirren, sacrifice points at Fir Park, so we are able to beat Celtic in that kind of symbolic way. Steven Gerrard gets his first victory against Celtic in his second Old Firm game, but it's still another 2 years before we win the league. I think we all agreed we were going right downhill since we won 55, so it's another rebuild. These players have got old. We've had to get rid of them. It's another rebuild that we're on just now, so we're back in the same kind of situation. And I think Clement has known that. Maybe he thinks about it too much, but we need to beat Celtic, and I think he's focused on it too much. The minimum he needs to do is beat Celtic. The idea that I remember when we sacked Gio, it was a year. It's almost like we had the draw at St Mirren, of all places, and the idea was it was going to be just a year. We can't have another manager who's not been in the job. We'd lost Steven Gerrard, obviously, to Aston Villa, but we got it. We waited for about a week. We let him put that video on Sky, which had been recorded about his first year in the job, and I think we sacked him the next day. It was almost, have to say, less than a year, reeks of instability. So, and now it's like, well, Clement has surely set himself up, so he'll be allowed the Old Firm game. He'll be allowed at his 7th attempt, a chance to beat Celtic at his 7th attempt. He's gone a whole calendar year without beating Celtic, and the problem with Scotland is that means it's 6 games altogether from the 30th of December last year. He really needs to make sure that he wins this one, but I can't see us sacking him before the Old Firm game, which means we'll get him into 2025. So it seems like a manager who came here in 2023, he lasted until 2025. That's good, that's better. It's still not the same manager for the whole season since Steven Gerrard's title-winning season. It's just it's the wind, folks. It's the wind. It's the rubbish blown about. What? A lot of rubbish.